The sun has barely risen when four women began their work in the back room of the Hillsboro Free Press in Hillsboro, Kansas. Within an hour, they are joined by middle and high school students who will deliver the papers, under the watchful eye of school employees, as part of a life skills class.
We were able to get one of the paper routes, and so we come and pick up the papers and fold them on Tuesday mornings, and then deliver one of the paper routes, and it teaches them work ethic, and that's what our classroom is about.
None of this might have been possible if it weren't for Joey and Lindsay Young. The couple took over the Hillsboro Free Press and run two other South Central Kansas newspapers during a period when many might have looked at industry trends and fled.
It's just, I really liked it, and it was youth and ignorance. Like, it was just that, like, abundance of, like, 20-something-year-old attitude that, like, you're indestructible and that, like, older people don't know what they're doing. I think there are certain things that we did better. And then there were a lot of things that I needed to be humbled with and that I was, just flat out incorrect about.
It was 2012 when the Youngs bought their first newspaper, The Clarion, in Andale, Kansas.
Lindsay and I lived like paupers. We saved my copy desk salary for 6 to 8 months, something like that. We sold a car to get enough down payment and enough money to put in the bank, which was still not enough, to purchase the paper.
The Youngs, with their money and time invested in keeping local journalism alive, are part of a shrinking group. According to Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism, the United States lost more than 1/3 of its newspapers over the past 20 years. The nation now has 208 counties without any local news source at all, areas Medill calls news deserts. If given a choice today, Joey Young wouldn't change the path that led him from his job at a daily newspaper to where the couple now operates their Kansas publishing ventures out of the Harvey County Now newspaper office in Newton. But he would change the conversation about local journalism.
All I hear is like this really depressing statistic that everybody likes to throw out to claim that like newspapers are dying, right? Never is there a follow-up to where like, hey, that town lost 50% of its population over the last 20 years. If you're losing Main Street businesses, do I think that there's a magical answer for sustaining journalism in your community? No, I don't. Like, you have to figure out how your community is going to survive. If your community is going to survive, a newspaper will survive.
To make sure community members and business owners keep a bit of focus on their local newspapers, the Youngs and their employees have done everything from a Halloween-themed toy ghost treasure hunt in downtown businesses to hosting an annual concert in a local park to a Friday community happy hour in the Newton newspaper office.
We used to have a Democrat elected to State House, which represented Newton. He came for a beer Friday, and so did the local head of the Republican Party. And we were all just hanging out, having a beer. And I was like, well, this is great. This is America. This is the way things should be. We're all just kind of having civil conversation, being a part of the community, which I think is special.
He knows not everyone is interested in being engaged in their local community, but enough still see value in it.
A lot of these small towns, the people that live there, they grew up there and they know just about everybody. So when you have a local newspaper, you can connect to those people that you've known. You can see if someone is going, like the homecoming queen and king, who's in the games, like as far as sports, what kind of local events are going on, like festivals.
But the financial struggles are real. When paper prices spiked during COVID, the company struggled to break even. Instead of suffering quietly, the Youngs were honest with their readers and put out a survey to see whether they wanted to rely strictly on the digital versions or pay a little more to continue the printed version.
9 out of 10 of our readers said they wanted a print paper and that they would pay more.
Nearly 90% of subscribers stuck with them when they went ahead and doubled the subscription fee. Throughout their dozen years as publishers, the Youngs have struggled with recruiting journalists, as some aren't sure about living in smaller communities. They are not alone with this challenge, as other rural news outlets also struggle with recruiting. As a former high school journalism teacher, Lindsay came up with a plan for non-journalists called Earn Your Press Pass.
This was just a way of saying, okay, well, here's, somebody who's lived in our community for 20 years. They've put kids through the school district. They work here. They know everybody. And let's just teach them how to write and do a good interview. And now they can be an asset for the newspaper.
Lindsay cringes to think of a future where more counties become news deserts. She says that ghost papers, where the product is still there but with no local reporters, are not much better.
We take a lot of pride in just making sure that local governments are doing the right thing, and having a person at the back of the room is amazing how much that holds people accountable to make sure they're doing the right thing. I feel like we're protecting our taxpayers too.
Ultimately, it's the upholding of the newsroom's traditional task of being the recorders of the first rough draft of history that matters to her.
I think for us as community papers, we're the only recorders of history. There isn't anybody else that's writing any of this stuff down or reporting on it. Being such an intimate part of a community and being a place where people trust you with their stories and with what's going on, I think it's such a gift, and it's humbling, and it's really fabulous to be a part of. So I absolutely 100% am head over heels in love with the industry.
For Market to Market, I'm Colleen Bradford Krantz.